I'll say. Um, you took a chance too, just to get into talking about a little bit about you on moving, right? Because you
Absolutely, yes.
last time I spoke with you, I found out that you moved to Atlanta, and you did it with no family, no
No
familiar.
family. No, I'm here by myself. I did have a sister that lived here, but she lived like 3.5 hours away from me. I also had a brother that lived in Dallas, but everybody moved back to Arkansas. So I'm actually the only one that's actually out of the state of Arkansas right now.
Wow, how
So I'm
about
by myself.
that? So how was that for you picking up and starting anew all over again? What was that like?
Well, it was a transition because my life had took a turn. I would say for the worst because I was married for 19 years, so I wanted something different. I wanted to redo, start all over again, refresh. So I was like, I was coming to Atlanta anyways for doing podcasting and doing red carpet events and being a part of radio stations and stuff. So it was exciting for me. And people were like, Crystal, you need to go ahead and move. And also, I do makeup, so I had clients here as well. And so I was like, well, my son's out of high school. He's going into college. It's a great time. Like I said, my life took a drastic change, and I was like, okay, it's time to start all over again. So um, I just follow God, and I just know that there's a purpose here for me here in Atlanta. And I'm like, I'm going to walk in that. Doors have definitely been opening for me. I'm so excited. But yeah. It's scary because times I think sometimes I'm like, man, I'm here by myself and I'm here in my apartment and I love being here now, for sure. But it took some time because once you're getting used to being coming home to some people, a husband and child and taking care of things, and you coming home to yourself, you coming home to your thoughts, you coming home to, things you now actually, and
Mhm.
you have to face that and grow to appreciate yourself and learn who you are and mature. And man, life has been a journey here, so a good journey. So
Yeah, that's good to hear because, I mean, one of the things, what our platform here is with Favor is we believe in getting healthy so that you can be healthy in healthy relationships. And
absolutely,
it starts
yeah,
with the renewing of your mind and getting the right spirit and knowing who you are in Christ, your identity, so that you set boundaries where you need to,
hmm,
you let go and you open up where you need to as well. And
absolutely,
and talking about this, I see how we kind of I see what the connection is with us, even in our podcast. I want to talk about how you even got started with doing your podcast. What inspired you or got you started
it
in
actually started like the morning jam. It was actually called the morning jam Facebook Live. So I started Facebook. My son was in, I think, maybe the fifth or sixth grade, and I lived at literally like 20 minutes from his school. So we started from home, getting in the car and then driving to his school, dropping him off. Kids, I mean, people actually, the viewers actually saw my son grow up from fifth to sixth grade all the way up to getting out of high school. And it's so funny. They would be like, hey, your son is getting big. Or, it was funny. Like, it was just his life was changing in front of their eyes as well as mine. And so was my life. So I started Facebook Live, and even I brought my son because that was our time together, mom and
Mhm.
son time. Even praying together, talking about different things, what was going on in school, and people was like engaging, like, oh my gosh, he's actually talking to his mom. And it just got to where we prayed before he left out of the car. Or my son was not definitely a morning person, so I had to, like, he had attitudes mornings, and he was in a good mood and on some mornings, and it was just like for us to get together and connect with God personally. And then it ended up at my job where I just, poured into people. Then they see my life, and then I poured into them with prayer because it was each and every day. So Monday is Loving Monday. Tuesday is Too Blessed to Be Stressed Tuesday. Wednesday is Prayer Wednesday. Thursday is Impact Thursday. Friday is Fellowship Friday. So Monday is like, let's love on each other. Tuesday, hey, we're not stressing about today. Wednesday, I will pray over Facebook Live. Thursday, I will talk about let's impact, but let's start with ourselves impacting first. And then Friday was like, go out and fellowship with whoever. fellowship with your coworkers, even if you're at home with your children, your family. And yeah, it started Facebook Live, and then people was like, "You need to start a podcast." At the time, I didn't know what a podcast was, and they was like, "Oh, okay." So I was like, when I got here, I started here in Atlanta. Well, no, I didn't start in Atlanta. I started back at home, but it was recorded here at Waywork Studios. So I would do a Zoom, but now I get to go actual into the studio and record face to face with different artists, producers, filmmakers, a whole bunch of different people. So my platform is for everybody and just not for me. So it started out Facebook Live.
That is awesome. Hey, Danny, I don't know what you're doing, but I hear everything.
And I don't hear anything but you.
I can hear every noise you're making in there. Well, I'm hearing something. But anyways, I can hear in my ear everything that's going
Gotcha.
on. And so, but that is awesome. So people actually got to watch you go through your transformation in life
Absolutely.
and
Hmm.
be inspired by it. I must have something in my mic or my ear or something because I hear a lot. It sounds like paper or whatever. But anyways, I'll try to ignore it. uh, but one of the things also when you transition after being married so long and then becoming a single parent,
Oh
and
yeah.
then you're starting something very new, like like you said that you've never done before. Besides that, with a putting yourself out there for the world to see, and kids, they tell it all. They don't keep no secret.
Absolutely. My son was definitely, he was in the 12th grade when I decided, just to move forward into everything, the transition, the different of me and his dad not being together. He kind of took it hard, but to God be all the glory, everything worked out. He stayed with me for 6 months, and then he was like, you know what, I'm going to go stay with dad. But their relationship is out of this world. I wouldn't take that from him or his dad. They have an amazing relationship, and I just love their relationship because they talk about everything. They have fun together. They, do things together. They travel together. So I didn't have a problem with that. It was just something that we had, you know, just like separated. It wasn't going to work. Um, so yeah, so the transition was different. I ended up staying in Arkansas a year after I separated, and then I moved here to Georgia. So my life it took a drastic turn, but only but in the live and all of that, I actually took a whole year off doing my Facebook Live because my life took a drastic turn. I would wake up crying. I would wake up and be sad or feeling depressed or having anxiety or, so I just shut it down. And people was like, Crystal, where are you? I didn't want them to see that side of my life. I didn't want them to see the hurt that I was going through, the change. Even the growth. So it was just like a hard transition for me because again that was you get into a marriage and you want to be in that marriage for the rest of your life, but I mean it was a kick in the gut for me. It was definitely a drastic change. So I didn't I took a break and I didn't want people to see that side of me.
So I can understand that. Like I had shared with you, I had previously been married before, and I actually lost custody of my kids
Oh
to
wow,
their father. Yeah,
I can't
um,
imagine.
I had a whole mental meltdown. He used that against me. He used my mental
Wow.
state against me, which all things are work for your good, right? So
Yeah,
even what the
absolutely.
enemy means for your bad, it turns
Mhm.
around for your good. And if I had not had that happen, I would have never got into getting healed. I do not believe.
Yeah.
So for me, I know what the transition was like you said, as far as the good and bad days, and I had
Mhm.
a lot of, I mean, I spiraled. I
I
went,
feel like I didn't have any more. I mean, I felt like I cried all of my tear ducts out. But I was like, I'm tired of crying. I'm tired of being hurt. I'm tired of feeling this way. But it took that. I had to let that because that you build that in and you shut everything down and like, okay, I'm not going to express this to my family. I didn't talk to my family about it. I didn't talk to anybody until like later. Like now I have a mentor that I go to and I talk to and I let everything out, and she's so supportive and just it's been a great thing. Thank you. I want to send a huge shout out to North Point and Alpharetta. That's where I go to church. Andy Stanley. God bless you all. Again, my mentor, Miss Loretta, she's amazing. She brings, I mean, when I say we went from the beginning when I was a little girl till now, and
Yes.
it just brought out. I mean, I was like, I'm not even gonna cry on this first session. I'm with a big girl. I got my big girl panties on, you know. And the first question, I was like, it was just, it was poured tears, and she was like, "That's what I want. You cannot keep, all of this in, or else it's just gonna break you, and it's not gonna make you a better woman. You're going to be hurt for the rest of your life. You're going to carry this, and it's not going to be good for you." So,
And that is really good. I know what we discussed last month on the
yeah,
podcast was dealing with your inner child. So
absolutely,
facing that, because you can't heal what you won't face, and you can't
absolutely,
forgive what you won't face, and you can't grow if you don't face, what's blocking you.
yeah,
So I'm glad to hear that you did mentorship,
absolutely. I
at
needed
least.
it. I needed it.
That's good, because I mean I'm an advocate for, we got Jesus, but there's nothing wrong with having a therapist.
And a
Or
lot of people would, think that is something crazy to do, but
mhm.
I'm like, no. Even when I was transitioning and trying to make things work, I would be like, let's go to counseling, let's do this, and the answer was given to me, no, it was not for us. I'm like, what? Where did you hear that from? It's
Yeah,
not for Black people to go to counseling.
right.
Yes, we need to go to
On
counseling.
top of
And
that, it's a
yeah,
taboo subject for us for whatever reason. Well, like I have a monthly therapist that comes on at the beginning of the month, and Miss Carol was saying that it's because we got that in our head. What
yeah,
happens in the house stays in the house. We don't
yeah,
share that
yeah.
information.
And I love that you said too that we got God. Yes, we do. He is right there to carry us through, but God places these amazing people on earth
Yes,
for us. Um,
absolutely.
he he's got these people that know how to build things, so we need them too. He's got people that know how to fix and repair, but we need those counselors as well, because he wouldn't give them the knowledge and understanding of how we should be as human beings to allow us to express and grow and mature. And that's the one thing that I love about me now. I thought that I was mature then. Like, I was married at a young age, got pregnant, and I say young, but we were like 20, 21, 22, very young. We didn't know anything. We grew up together. But I was very young, and I thought that I was mature. But I'm in my 40s now, I can actually say, hey, I'm in my 40s.
Ah, praise the Lord.
But I wasn't mature then. I was thinking that I was, but listen, like, life will kick you in the head. It will show you what
Yes.
you need to fix. It will show you where you need to improve in and mature, and things that you want to bring into your life and also let go of out of your life. And I thank God for where the maturity of where I am now as a woman of God, as a woman, as a girlfriend, as friend, as a friend. And I just thank God for the process. I thank God for the growth and the maturity as well.
And I think that's something we all need to always keep in mind.
Hmm.
It's okay to not be okay, but
Absolutely.
also go ahead and talk to somebody about it instead of thinking that you have to sequester what you're feeling.
Yeah.
And we know we have to unlearn so many bad behaviors and process, because little boys are taught, don't be a punk, don't cry, man up.
Yeah.
You 3 years, he's a 3-year old. How's he manning up? What are you talking about? Big boys don't
Absolutely.
cry, but they should be allowed to. We label our kids and we mark them, and this is how generational curses start. Then you
Absolutely.
wonder why you got men that are so disconnected emotionally, because
Hmm.
that has been put into their minds from a young age, and now
Yeah.
they don't even know how to affirm anybody else or themselves. And
Yeah.
I love how you took and put a positive spin on everything by decided, what, the way that I can help myself in this is also to inspire others to do
Absolutely.
something different.
Yeah.
So we're gonna take a real quick break, and then we'll come back. And then Crystal, I want to talk some more about your podcast. Excuse
Absolutely.
me. We'll be right back.
Hello, I am independent artist Alicia West Campbell. You know that music you hear in the background? That's my new and latest EP called King of Glory. This album is a journey. It's a journey through my life, it's a journey through the ups and the downs, but always tells that God is the King of Glory. He's the head of my life, and I hope He's the head of yours. Won't you take a listen?
All right, y'all. So I was thinking while we were talking of a scripture, Matthew 12:33, and it says, either make the tree sound, which is healthy and good, and its fruit sound, healthy and good, or make the tree rotten, diseased and bad, and its fruit rotten, diseased and bad. For the tree is known and recognized and judged by its fruit. So we have an option. And when it's talking about this, make the tree, we're the tree. We are. We are the
Absolutely.
tree of life. And we can choose to either be healthy and good or diseased and bad, which means that we're not going to function in life, in our relationships, or anything that we put our hands to. I rather be fruitful. So I believe I'm one of those people that what you put out is what you draw.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
I always think that there's a choice in life, even when it's with your family, with your friends, with yourself. But it's always starting with self that's going to improve others. Because I'm big on saying, "Let your light shine, let it shine so bright that no man can dim, break, or shut off. Only you, they only can do that unless you give them the power to, and they really can't do that because God has given you that light. A lot of times we choose to put ourselves aside and not depend on God, or we put ourselves ahead and not depend on God. A lot of times I've set myself in a chair and was like, okay, God, I'm crying these tears, but I need your help in a lot of things. So I want my tree to grow because my son is watching me. I called my son one day and I was crying to him. My son is 19, going on 20. I was crying to him and he was like, Mom, it's going to be okay. Um, and he gave me a word, and I was so proud of him. And I immediately stopped crying because of the words that he was giving me, meaning he know the word because I brought him up in church, just like I was raised in church. He know the word, and what he was feeding into my soul, I was like, I've done my job. This is amazing. He
mhm.
is the fruit off of my tree, and I know that I've done well in that. So it was an amazing feeling because one, I thought my son was like, "Come on, kid, what's going? Get your life together." But when he went to talking to me, he was like, Mom, my life, I'm learning from my experiences because I was like on him hard, like, son, come on, get this, get that. Like, this is your tree that you're making. Your children is going to bear from what you do. But I thank God for the teaching that was poured into me from my parents, the teaching that was poured into my son from me on from his grandmother. So and
That's
grandfather. I thank
awesome.
God for that.
And that's awesome that you actually had support in getting you to where you needed to be, and passing that along. So that's good fruit plant for generation to
Yeah.
generation to generation. So let me ask you this: how are you inspired every day to come up with a topic for whatever you're doing? What
Oh my
drives you?
gosh, T. Like I'm like I don't have a topic. Like when I say God literally give me the words to say, He gives me the word. Or sometimes I'm listening to a song and just a piece of a song can hit my heart and be like, oh my God, yeah. Or somebody can be saying something because like first thing in the morning, I'm going to listen to Les Brown. He is the greatest motivational, inspirational speaker I have ever heard in my whole entire life. I listen to him every day, and it's one podcast that I listen, and I tend to let it play because it's going to continuously play him, and that's where I get where life is going to kick you in the head, and it's going to put some knots and bruises on you. but it is up to you. That choice, you have to either learn from it to let it grow and burst out your, a seed is always covered, but sometimes people think that that seed is being buried, and is being hid. But let water and the sun beam on that, is going to grow into something very beautiful. And I just think that God has put a seed into me from when I was a child. No matter how life throws so many different curves at me, um, I was molested as a young little girl, for 3 years straight, and I I hid that, I buried it, and when I got here, I was finally able to talk about it, and I cried for days. And I thank God for the seed that was planted to even help me overcome that. My testimony, I can share with you really quick, and it may be off subject, but I was pregnant with my son, and my pastor, former pastor, he's deceased now, called all night prayer and fasting. And I was like, okay, so I'm going to try this, and I'm going to do it while I'm pregnant. And I was fasting with my son. So I did it. We did it for months. And even when I left from church and went home, I would stay up reading my Bible at the table. I would fall asleep. My husband at the time would come in, like, babe, come to bed. I was like dedicating my life. I got to get closer to God, because this is a little child in me that's going to come out of me, and I got to know how to nourish and teach and inspire and uplift this kid, because I was young. I didn't know, but in that, I didn't know that God was preparing me for a situation that I was going to face. After KJ was born, it was like 3 or 4 years after he was born, I ended up going blind for 2 weeks.
Oh
And I was
my.
like, oh, wow, what's going on here? So I went to different doctors, and they didn't know what was going on. So I ended up going to Little Rock, Arkansas. At the time I was in Arkansas, and it was a specialty there. He didn't know what was going on, but he gave me some steroid eye drops, and that began to bring my eyesight back. And I was like, oh my God, thank God I'm being able to see my son growing up. It was, oh, I was so devastated and hurt. Like, what is it really going? I'm not going to stay blind, but thank God I was healed from that. So like life went on for a little bit, and I end up and getting out of the shower one morning, and I saw a knot appear on my neck. It was right here. I have a scar still. It was like really big. So I was like, oh my God. So I called my husband, and I was like, come look at this. Um, and he was like, what's going on? I was like, I need to go to the doctor right now. So we went, and it was like, okay, Miss Cross, you have cancer. It was non-Hodgkin.
Oh,
They never told me what type of cancer it is until like years later. I got all my medical records, and it was non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And thank God I was delivered for that. I'm trying to make this a story short because I can go on. So,
you're fine.
um,
You got time.
but it was like things were happening after one thing after the next. So after all that was done, like then lesions appeared on my legs. And I was like, what is going on? Like, what is going on with my body? So, and if I would bump up anything, if I hit a chair, if I hit, like, now they were only on my legs. If I hit anything if my son kicked me, because he's little, it hurt me to the core. It hurt me to my soul. And I would just start crying. I was like, okay, we got to go see what this stuff is. So I ended up having sarcoidosis. Sarcoidosis is an immune disease. It affected my lungs. I couldn't breathe. Singing with my sisters, I was like, I would bump them while we're up, and I would lip sing for them to get my note. Like, hey, get my note real quick and let me catch my breath. I was on inhalers. I was on 12 different type of medications, including inhalers and stuff. And if anybody don't know what that is, sarcoidosis is what Bernie Mac passed from. He had that. So I would tap them, like, take my note and let me catch my breath real quick. Even in big performances where we are, thank God, like they were catching the note. And I would like tap them again, like, I'm good. I can sing my note for a minute. And it was an amazing thing because it would happen so good. And I would just keep my lips moving to the song. But after all of that, years passed. I've battled with that for, I think, at least 7 or 8 years.
My God.
Terrible. But I thank God, like, if with the medication, I was on prednisone. I went from a size 7 to size 18 within months, a couple of months of starting that medication. And I thank God for the healing. Thank God for, again, for the process. But I remember, like, my husband was like, "Babe, you need to stay in the house," because everywhere I went, I would catch, if somebody had like a cold, if they had the sniffles, I would catch it. I remember catching staph and ended up having to go into the hospital for a whole week,
Oh
had
my
surgery,
goodness.
everything. It was just one thing after the next. I thank God. I said, Lord, if I remember sitting at home because I was having a muscle spasm. I called my sister while I was bent over and it was taking my breath away from me. And I told her, I was like, I need some prayer. Because nothing but preachers, teachers, ministers, everything is in my family. I called, I said, I need some prayer because I can't breathe. I remember leaning over so bad and it had me bent. And even in that, I was hurting so bad. I was like, God, if you give me another chance in life, if you take this away from me, I promise you, I will never live a day without telling people about your word. And it was amazing. So I don't know if it was maybe a year or two after that that everything went away. I was completely healed. They kicked me out of the doctor's office. It was like, hey, you don't need to come back. I ended up being 2019 Bernie Mac Foundation keynote speaker. It was a great, amazing thing. So yeah, it's been a journey of starting from youth, been in church, fasting and praying, and knowing God, learning who I am, and going through my sickness and stuff, and my testimony and all that, and just being able to live and be able to tell God, people about God's word and my testimony. So,
And you're such an amazing inspiration to everyone to be someone who has went through so much, yet still, you trust God and you still lift up
absolutely.
God. I mean, a lot of us, and me being one, I got angry, and I ran away. I
Mm,
actually turned my back on God because I was so
wow.
devastated because of who I married. I thought he was going somewhere within the church. We both went to church together, and boy, he was a wolf in sheep's clothing. That's another. But praise
It's
the
okay,
Lord
Daddy. I
anyhow.
got your back, buddy. I love you to death.
But and like I said, but to go through all that adversity and you still did not lose your faith,
Oh,
that says
no.
a lot about who you are and how established you were. So I mean, do you still now, even though you went through everything, do you still have some days where you struggle? And
I
if
do
you
not.
do,
I thank God because one, I had to, it was like a process. I had to go to doctors like once every 2 weeks, and then it went a month, then it went 3 months, then it went 6, then it went a year, and then it was like over. Like, yeah, you're done. Like when I took an X-ray of my lungs, you would not believe like the spots that was on my lungs. It was crazy. I was like, how in the world is this possible? This is the reason why I can't breathe. Um, and like dealing with the lesions on my legs, and I wish I had a picture. I got a picture, but I can't find it right now, but I know it's in the midst of everything because I keep it, because I look at it and be like, man, God has truly blessed me to live to see another day. And when I look back at those, it's just crazy, but I don't have any type of symptoms at all. I always get worried, so I always have to go to specialty doctors. I can't go to like a regular, I'm sorry, PCP doctors. I have to go to specialties, and they have to check my lungs and make sure everything is cool. But no, the reason I could find that it was flaring up, out my joints would get hot and they would swell. So no, I don't have any symptoms
praise
whatsoever
the
at all.
Lord.
I can sing a note without tapping someone to take my notes, so I'm good.
That is awesome. And now, like I said, once again, here you are using your platform to encourage and inspire others, to stay the course and not to give up and get in. If you had anything that you could say to somebody, because like this month, for instance, is the month known where we observe suicide. that Suicide Awareness Month.
Mhm.
If there was somebody before you that's telling you right now that they're struggling and fighting, but they're losing heart, what would you say to try to encourage them
You
to
know, for
see?
the most important thing that I always tend to think that people just ignore is, and sometimes I think that it gets me in trouble because I'm a very touchy person. Like when I'm talking to you, I'll touch you. But it's giving a hug, and even in that, it could be a smile or just touching somebody's hand. But I would definitely show that affection, love, because it gets me into trouble all the time. Um, but I would say to them, don't give up the fight. Don't lose hope in who they are, because God is always here for us. He's here with His arms stretched wide open. I'm your comforter. I'm your supporter. I'm your number one fan. Um, I'm your number one uplifter. I can take care of you, even in the midst when we feel like our back is up against the wall and we're sitting in the dark, because I remember a time I was sitting in the dark one time and I just wanted to give up. Like, I can't handle being sick anymore. Even though I had this precious little boy, I was married, life was good, but I'm here, I'm sick. And, going through some things can really take your mind through some things. But I want people to know that, hey, even in the midst of our darkness, even in the midst of our trials and our tribulations that we go through, we tend to think that it is our own feet that we're seeing that's on the ground carrying, that we're carrying all this. But it's actually God carrying us. He's one that's here to uplift us and bring us out of everything. There is light at the end of the tunnel. I would tell them to stay strong. Don't give up. Believe in yourself, because sometimes we have to encourage ourselves. Sometimes we have to motivate and uplift ourselves. We have to really encourage us to, just to be the best, because we are the best. God has placed so much greatness. He's put us in the image of Him. So
Yes.
we have to be in the midst of it all and not give up. Not give up.
And I love what I heard you say, that you'll get up in the mirror and you kind of talk to yourself. You have a conversation with yourself. And I think we forget to do that, that sometimes we need to reach back within ourselves and affirm who we are and what God has called us to be. How amazing and wonderful and truly loved and blessed and fantastic. And even if you if you can't think of anything to celebrate, it's the fact that you woke up,
Yes,
even if you're not having a good
I want
day.
to encourage someone to, because I did this for a very long time. I did it back when I moved into my apartment, because one, we tend to want to get approval from others, but we have to get approval from ourselves. Because one, I had sticky notes, and I will put them on my mirror in the bathroom, that you are amazing, you are great, God is good, you're amazing, you are beautiful. Because I struggled, as a little girl, because I was a tomboy. I was a straight tomboy. My mom, I remember the words coming out of her mouth saying, I wish I can't, or what was the word? She said, I can't wait for you to be a girl. And I looked at her, I was like, I am a girl. And not knowing that that took effect on me.
Mm,
Thought that I was pretty. I never thought that I was this bum diggity girl. I was a tomboy. I was in the gym with the boys lifting weights. Like, I could beat you lifting this.
mhm.
Out playing in the dirt. With the boys, with the guys. I was one of the guys, you could say. But you can't tell that now, because I love my shoes, my heels, my makeup.
I
My
was gonna say, not one part of you looks tomboyish when I see you, girl.
my mom was like, "Thank God."
But see, even that, something so simple as that, I don't think we realize that it can take an effect. Like I was telling somebody, you know what, watch what you say to your children, because even saying you act just like your daddy, well, do you know what you're speaking over your child?
Absolutely, absolutely.
I hope his daddy is intelligent, bright, and
Right. Hope.
loving, and the image of God. Because you're sitting here. I tell everyone our words have power and they take life. And if that resonates with a person's soul, what is said to them, if they take hold of that, they chew on it a while, and it sits there and it festers until it actually becomes a stronghold in their mind.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
I'm teaching my spiritual daughters on strongholds, how Satan, our battlefield is our mind, and what Satan does is he uses our experiences, the negative ones, to start to build that stronghold up so that we can't receive what
Mm,
we need to hear from God. Because every
absolutely.
time we hear, that, boy, the Lord is going to use you, all we hear is, you ain't no good and you're not going to amount to
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
Because that's always what's been fed in our spirit from different individuals, people we love, even, and then hearing
Yeah.
it on the job, or a neighbor, or somebody just being nasty one day to you, and it triggers those things in us. So we
Absolutely.
have to be very cautious what we allow in our ear gates and our eye gates, who we set ourselves up under, and even establishing boundaries. For you, um, when you decided to come here, because now you're uprooted from the church that you were attached to, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
So how did you go about reestablishing yourself and building your village or your community that you needed in a new place?
Oh my goodness. Well, I think God just brought it to me. I think He set the right people in my pathway to where I was able to connect with the people that I'm with now. My boyfriend now introduced me to the church that I'm with now. So North Point is amazing church, and from being in a small, because I'm from a town very small.
Mhm.
Kansas City, Arkansas is very small. I would say 2,500 people there. Everybody know everybody. The next town up was Batesville, which was 10,000 people, which is not very big. But we moved to Batesville, Cave City, and then Wynne, Arkansas was 2 hours. We drove every Sunday 2 hours to church.
Wow.
Ended up with another church in Blytheville, Arkansas. No, Osceola, Arkansas, which was 3 hours. So I'm used to traveling to church because one, my parents met my former pastor that's passed away now through tent revivals. So my dad would set up tent revivals all over the world,
My
and
goodness.
do tent revivals. And I remember my mom saying, everybody, people would talk about the Whitakers because, Betty got her kids all clean and fresh and pretty, but my mom had that pan where she'd take her kids out and be scrubbing and cleaning them in the pan. Because my dad, one, didn't like people touching his children. Like if one of his kids started crying, he said, "Betty, go get my daughter or go get my son." They done bit him or pinched him or something. But it was just like that. We were just a close knit group that ended up in Cave City, Arkansas, now called the Blessed area. People always say, You're from a cult." I was like, "I'm far from a cult." But it was just like we moved to I would say 98% white town. Um,
Mm.
and like I said, a handful of black people into a midst of white people. I mean, a white town. I'm not even going to talk about this that was kind of rude, but anyway, into a white town that that we grew up around white people. Like everybody always saying, "You sound white." I was like, "I'm sorry, I grew up around white people. Most of my friends was white." So, but it was
And you shouldn't even have to apologize for that, because you just speak
absolutely.
proper. That's all it is.
I do not apologize for my raising. I
Amen.
for my raising. We had some wonderful times growing up. But traveling is church is in us.
Mhm.
It's buried. I remember even waking up with my mom and my dad praying and over us at night. I would wait for the blessed oil to come touch my head. I remember laying in bed. I told this story plenty of times where lightning struck into our house and it came down the wall and blew up behind the gas heater, and it didn't blow our home up. We could have been like dead forever ago. But
Wow.
prayer, my parents was up praying, and they ended up getting like the sparks, the black sparks on their hands from the lightning blowing up behind the gas station. It was crazy. I mean, like blue, like through the whole house.
Wow.
But God covered us, and
But yeah.
but it's raising. That raising is something else. Like somebody like I don't even know the song. I got a praying mama. I don't know.
Mhm. I know
Uh,
what song you're talking about.
I got a praying
And,
mama.
and knowing my husband, it'll be playing at the end of this.
I got a praying mama, and My mom don't play no games. My dad's the fun one, but my mom did not play games. She is the strict one. My dad is the great fun one, but I got some praying parents that has prayed us through a lot of things.
So that's good. I believe community can help you, and even if it means cutting off or pulling away for things that are even unhealthy for you, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and like I said, I find you truly amazing. You're always smiling. You have a natural light that reflects. So your light definitely shines without even you trying. Rather you know it.
Thank
You
you.
walk in the room and everybody knows it's Crystal. Your name says a lot because crystals really they glow
I
and they
know.
throw
Funny,
off a lot
He
of
said,
color.
he said to me not too long ago. He was like, "Man, it's crazy that your name changed because Crystal Cross was that was a name. It stood." I was like, "Well, Crystal Whitaker is amazing too, you know."
Yes, yes, she is. She
was
is
like,
amazing.
like Tina Turner. I'm going to give away everything but the name.
Amen.
But
So
it's just me being in the community where I am, where friends, God has placed so many great people. I've made so many friends here, um, that I thank God for them, you know. But yeah, I think it's my upbringing that draws people to me because I'm very talkative. I like to talk to people, and I'm very approachable. So I think that's what it is.
you are absolute people person, and that's a good segue into you've had some wonderful, amazing guests on here. So why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the guests that you've had on your program?
Oh my gosh. I thank God for every last one of my guests. Like I just recently Ashford Sanders from uh Sunday's Best. I mean, man, great people. Bobby Jones, Dr. Bobby Jones. He's like my uncle. I got his number on speed dial. And he's like, "What's up, girl?" That's the thing. Being on his show, he called us the country girls from Arkansas because we had on the same outfit, but our shoes was different. So he was like, they don't have shoes in Arkansas that match." But I've had some amazing guests on my show. The Morning Jam podcast is very a challenging but great and a great experience for me because one, I definitely when I interview artists and amazing managers like yourself on my show, Miss P,
God bless you.
from even like and it's amazing because one, they're gonna drop some nuggets on me and I'm going to learn from them because one, I don't interview someone that I do not learn from. I learn from everybody I interview. The artist, whoever you are, if you're a producer, if you're a manager, if you're a hip hop artist, amazing fashion entrepreneurs. I had some great interviews. I remember like being nervous talking to Me So Natural. She makes sea moss. She makes body scrubs, and this girl is amazing. She has her own vehicle that she meets you where you are to massage your body, from cleansing and all this. And she talked about even personal problems, like I call it my purse, but she was talking about it. And I was like so nervous on my podcast talking about that, but I was like, Crystal, you got to reach all audience. You just can't talk about God about on each show. So I was trying to I try and reach all audience from
Well, shoot, golly, people need to watch their purse. A
absolutely.
pocketbook. It was a pocketbook when I grew up, so I understand.
But yes, I've had some amazing guests on my show, man. From comedians, from I had Shed G, he's stunt double for Madea. A lot of people don't know that, but
How
he is.
about that?
Um, but I've had some great people on my show that God has truly blessed me, and when I reach out to them, it's never been a no. It has not, and I thank God for that.
So, how do you decide who to have on your show? Is there a process?
It is not. So I basically go looking for you. Um, I'm scrolling through Facebook, scrolling through IG, meeting you wherever I go. And I remember meeting a young lady at my job now, and I was so like, "Hey, what do you do?" I always go into what do you do? That's my first question now. What do you do again? And I just go from there. I always been like, hey, you don't know me. My name is Crystal Whitaker. I'm with the Morning Jam podcast. I would love to have you as a super guest on my show for a casual interview. It's always starting out like that. It's like, I don't know. I make it personal, but not personable. I try and make my intro fun and, trying to reach out to be like, I don't want to be a stranger. I always try and do like, okay, I'm your sister, asking you to come on my show.
That's it. That's it. And being that I've done it myself just recently, you really made me comfortable. So I appreciate you. I like I said, I truly feel that it was an honor to even be
Uh,
considered.
it is an honor
All
today.
right. So we got one more commercial and then we'll be right back before we wrap up with the last few words. So y'all hang in there just one more moment. We'll see you right back here.
Y'all, it's me, Taylor Jones. I am a neo inspirational artist through Highly Favored Productions. You can find my music on all digital platforms. I have a single out called Breathe, and I also have another project out called Upside Down on all digital platforms: iTunes, CD Baby, Amazon Music, Spotify, Pandora, all platforms. If you would like to get a hold of me, you can also go on my Instagram, which is Taylor Jones Music 8, or you can reach my manager T Freeman at 270-986-7996, or you can reach her via email at hfpmanagement@yahoo.com. Thank you all.
I love that song. I just need to breathe.
Oh, Taylor. Oh my gosh, I love her.
Yes, she's a sweetheart.
She's amazing.
All right. Hey, so Crystal,
Yes,
I want to give you a few minutes to tell us about anything you got upcoming where people could see you at,
absolutely.
or even, watch your podcast.
Listen, you can watch the podcast. You can go to the Morning Jam podcast on YouTube. You can check me out on Facebook under my name, Crystal Whitaker, IG under Crystal Whitaker. Also on Thinking Out Loud Network. It's also on Waitwork Studios Facebook page. You can look and find me all over there. But I got some amazing things coming up. One is the Spin Awards. I am doing makeup for the Spin Awards. I'm doing the models makeup. So a lot of people don't know that I wouldn't say that. A lot of people don't know that I sing, but a lot of people know that I do makeup and fashion. But I'm so excited about the event that's coming up. I did it last year, and I did like people that was coming to the Spin Awards. So she put out 3 free makeup um, facials. That's
I
did
threw my name in for that. I threw my name in for that.
I saw that. And now I'm doing actually the models that's coming out with the awards. So I'll be backstage this year. Also, I'll be presenting as well at the Spin Awards. I'm just so excited. God has placed people in my life that has really said, "Hey, I see that you do makeup. Can you come help me do this and do this? I have 28 girls I need to get done. Can you come and help me do this and this?" And I'm just grateful. But I am an artist. I do sing. I was actually thinking about like writing a single and doing it here. I just haven't stepped out to do that yet. But yes. But
Okay.
maybe I work at an orthopedic clinic for my 9 to 5, but like on weekends and stuff, I do my podcast and makeup and fashion and stuff. I got a lot of things that's coming out. I have my own lashes called A2 Beauty.
I've
Uh,
been trying to get, she's being so selfish. She just will
listen,
not give me a pair. I'm trying to get them.
Listen, when you come to the Spin Wars, you can have all you like, sis. I will have a whole
I
stack.
will buy up a bunch. So I'll
But
have my purse ready.
that's
No,
one of
you
my
won't.
things
No,
I'm
you will
working
not.
on right
No, mm-mm, no, no,
Do
no,
you hear
sir.
this?
Nope,
Wait a
nope,
minute.
now.
nope.
Dang, come
What's
on.
the engineer doing in on the what is this?
Oh, we love our lashes because one, my lashes, A2 Beauty is bringing out the natural in you. We do have from Boss Girl that's going to work to have that little lovely lash, and then we have those girls that like that attention. So you're gonna get the AT&T. Nobody
Yes.
can't steal that. Everybody getting the attention. They
Uh-huh.
the AT&T that's going on something that I have, so nobody can steal that.
All
Crystal,
right.
Crystal, you're starting stuff right now, and I don't
I
appreciate
know.
it. I don't
Yeah, I'm
appreciate
over
it.
here salivating. I got lashes coming.
Yes,
Lashes.
you do. Yes, you do. But I have T-shirts that's coming. I have T-shirts already, but I want to revamp them because I want them to look more like me. When I brought T-shirts out for the Morning Jam podcast, I was like, okay, let's get something out really quick. But now it's going to be so feminine and so sexy. It's going to be great. I cannot wait for y'all to see. But
Oh,
I have this huge idea of things that I'm doing. I definitely want to get into a little bit of modeling here. So I'm working on that. I always call myself a plus size, but they were like, Crystal, you're just a size 12, so you're not considered a plus size model. But I was like, okay. And I always thought I was too short to be model because I'm 5'3" and a half, but I'm 5'4" on paper. But but I definitely going to dab into that. Just what God has a door open for me, I'm definitely going to walk in with no fear. So yeah, basically my podcast, my lashes, HU Beauty that's coming out, that's actually out, but website and everything is getting ready to be put up. I'm so excited about that. It's just so much stuff that I got going on that I don't want to say just yet because
I see.
these past few months I've been like not saying, I've been on the hush hush because my mind has been blowing up because I'm here in my apartment alone and I'm working on things. So a lot of ideas and stuff has come to me. So I'm excited. I can't wait.
We are excited and we look forward to what you got coming out in the near future. And we just pray blessing upon blessing and that God gives you plenty of critical thinking skills, time management skills, that He makes you very inventive and He gives you strategy on how to put what here and there and who to pull in. And you know what, girl? Everything your hands touch is prophetic gold. So it's going to blow up. And we're just
So want
excited.
to tell people this. I do have a magazine that's coming out, but I'm not going to throw out the name just yet because it's going to surprise a lot of people.
All right then. So we look forward to that. I want to thank you for coming on,
I'm
Kristen.
sorry. I want to announce this because he's been a huge, great inspiration to me. Palmer Williams, he will be on the front cover. That's
All
all.
right. All right then. So we are excited, ladies and gentlemen. Crystal Whitaker. Make sure you check out her morning podcast. She, like she stated, you can catch her on YouTube. You can also check her out on Facebook and IG as well. And I'm going to get you your information. I'm going to put it down in my comments so they know where to find you as well. So make sure you inbox me all that information so I can tag that in. Guys, I want to thank you for tuning in to I've Got Favor, where it's your time to shine with me, your hostess, Prophetess T, and I want to pray for you to have a blessed and prosperous week. So remember, like I say in the words of my favorite vegan, honey, go on and have yourself a good day. But if you can't, don't go messing up nobody else's. You guys stay tuned, stay blessed. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye. We thank you for tuning in to I've Got Favor, where it's your time to shine with Prophetess T.